regularly take trips away to try and get away from our life, but what we realize is that we can't avoid anything, and in fact it brings stuff up. Brings it up, makes it even worse. But the good thing is that when we actually face our dark side properly and genuinely, by looking at it, being willing to see what it is the message, what am I learning from this, what do I need to change, when we actually see all those things, then we can start making some serious and real progress. But until we're willing to have a good look at it, we're just basically running away from ourselves. And you can run, but you can't hide. So today we're talking about dealing with the dark side within us. Because all of us are actually great souls, but we have this dark side within us that wants to destroy our lives, and it will destroy our lives if we let it get the better of us. Ara and I have come up here to Crestone, Colorado. It's a beautiful place in the mountains. Just snowed this morning, and we're going all the way over here to these mountains, to the great sand dunes, some of the massive sand dunes in America. Woohoo! So when we're on a spiritual path, we can't run. We can't run from ourselves because there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go at all apart from to face our dark side. But when we're not on a spiritual path, it's the path of distraction. That's why there's all this entertainment, all the endless cell phones, and I've got one here. You know, if I spend all day clicking away on this thing, I can try and distract myself from my stuff. But ultimately, the dark side within us, our problems, our addictions, our worries, all our fears, all the stuff that we've been suppressing and repressing for many, many lives, in many cases, it has to be faced. And when we face it, all hell breaks loose. And it's not easy to deal with. The big problem with dealing with the dark side is that part of us is addicted to it. So we actually like it on some level, and because we like it, we don't want to give it up, and we don't recognize the harm that it's doing to us. And ultimately we have to get to the point where we actually dislike it, not from a vicious place, but we're just genuinely sick of it. It makes us sick, because something that makes us sick we're not likely to go along with. But as long as we think it's exciting and fun and wonderful, it will continue and continue and continue. So off to the great sand dunes. If we identify what we're experiencing as our own stuff rather than part of the dark side within us, and we start to believe that's me having all these problems, then it's very difficult to deal with it. When we see it as more like an evil spirit that has temporarily entered us, you can call it evil spirit, you can call it patterns, sanskaras, old habits, there's different words you can use, but when we realize this is something that is not natural to us, it's not originally there, this is stuff that we've picked up along our way, and it is now expressing itself through us. You know, it's like when you have a habit, you might not have realized what you're doing when you created the habit, then once it's there, you try and stop it, and it keeps coming back again and again and again, and it takes a little bit of time before it goes away. This is a pretty crazy place. It doesn't actually look that big until you zoom in a little bit and realize that there are people walking up there, and they're tiny. This is huge. It's like a mini Sahara Desert right next to these 14,000 foot mountains. being at the beach, apart from it's in 14,000 foot mountains. Bit of a strange situation. A beach with no ocean. So we often spend our time trying to be comfortable, trying to get our situation just right, make everything nice, make sure that we're not getting triggered by anyone, get rid of all stressful people, trying to remove all the situations that are disturbing, and then we can be relaxed and comfortable. But the problem is that that's fake, because we can't sustain comfort forever. And when the comfort falls apart, then all the stuff erupts, all the dark side erupts. I was talking to one of our clients the other day about the dark side, what's really going on. And she was wondering, why is it that we keep causing ourselves sorrow? Like, what's wrong with us as human beings? That we seem to get in these stupid situations and we can't handle being happy, and we screw ourselves over again and again, repeat bad behaviors, distract ourselves. Why are we living in fantasies? Because a lot of people are fantasizing about being in a relationship or this perfect dream life they want to have. Fantasy, 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 instead of reality. Why are we so interested in all that? And I was sharing with her that one of the main reasons is that when we live in a fantasy world, we can avoid the truth. Reality, truth, is different from fantasy. Fantasy is never going to happen because it's fantasy. So there's no consequences because it doesn't exist. Truth is a real thing and it has real consequences. So when we actually face up to our fantasies and our ideas and what's wrong with our lives, then we're led to the often painful realization that big changes are necessary. And when we realize big changes are necessary, it often freaks us out. Freaks us out because we actually have to do something about it. And doing something about our life is a lot harder than just pretending that everything's fine and living in a fantasy. So at the end of the day, dealing with our dark side isn't easy. It can be extremely distressing, frankly. But there's no way around it because we can't run away from ourselves. And one of the best things we can do is just understand that there's the short pain where we just face up to whatever's going on in our life that we don't like, our own madness, our own addictions, our own problems. Face up to it directly and say, okay, I've got a problem, I admit it to myself and to other people. Or we can take the long pain, where we avoid ourselves, where we try and pretend everything's fine, just watching more TV, just watching more Netflix, just check the phone a million times, just pretend everything's fine. And years and years and years go by in misery, and it'll just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So that's really the choice we have. Face up to whatever it is that's going on directly and make it better, even though it's going to be crazy, or run away from it. And then guess what happens? It will explode and it will be a lot worse later on. And in the meantime, years and years and years and years of misery. So there's your choice. So the end result of facing our dark side and dealing with it is that we feel release, relief, peace, joy, and freedom. So you can choose whatever you want. Most people are distracting themselves, but you can choose to be free. Hope this has been helpful, and lots of love and blessings.